Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Okay, we from group 3 will present to you about the topic Fiqh and Sharia. Okay, I'm Muhammad Lukman Hakim bin Matzihad and the other two presenter Muhammad Izzat bin Muhammad Rusdi and Muhammad Shafi'i bin Mukhtar. Let's go through the definition of fiqh and sharia. So, literal meaning of fiqh is understanding. In Arabic, al-fahmu. So, this is based on the Prophet's prayers to Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu. Allahumma faqihhu fid-din. O Allah, make him, Ibn Abbas, a learned scholar in religion. So, basically, the word faqihhu, a learned scholar, it means that an understanding scholars. So let's go to the technical meaning of fiqh. Firstly, general meaning of fiqh is deep understanding or full comprehension on something. So next, specific meaning of fiqh is fiqh refers to the body of Islamic law extracted from the detailed Islamic sources, which means detailed Islamic sources is from Al-Quran and Sunnah, and the process of gaining knowledge of Islamic jurisprudence. So, fiqh often described as the human understanding of the Sharia, which the knowledge about Islamic legal rulings from their sources necessitates the mujtahid. Who is mujtahid? Mujtahid is an individual who exercises ijtihad. So actually mujtahid have a deep understanding in the different discussion of jurisprudence. Next, let's go to the definition of Sharia. Sharia is a fundamental religious concept of Islam. So general meaning of Sharia is law. In Arabic, the term Sharia refers to God's immutable divine law. It means that the unchangeable law decreed by God. So the Sharia is in contrast with fiqh. So Sharia law is a religious law forming part in Islamic tradition. It derived from the religious precept of Islam, particularly the Al-Quran and the Hadith, these two main Islamic sources. So actually Islamic law recognize four sources of Sharia, which is Al-Quran, Sunnah, Qiyas and Ijma'. In verse 18 Surah Al-Jathiyah, Allah says that, then we put, O Muhammad, on an ordinate way concerning the matters of religion. An ordinate way means that Allah had created a Sharia, a way, a law to his religion, Islam. So follow it and do not follow the inclination of those who do not know. Let's move to the differences of fiqh and Sharia. So actually Sharia is more wider than fiqh because Sharia covers the law of belief, which is Aqidah and the Amaliyah. Besides, fiqh only covers the Amaliyah. And the second differences is the sources. So the Sharia, the sources of Sharia is the divine and revelation, which is from the God. The two revelation, which is Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. Beside the fiqh is also take the sources of fiqh is take from the revelation, which is Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, and they have a different which is human endeavor, which is ijtihad. So Sharia is unchangeable and immutable. It is reserved from error, which is it is far from wrong, because the sources is from Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, that from the God law, while the fiqh is the hukum of fiqh is always changeable, depends on the situation, which is on the discussion of the mujtahid to make the ijtihad or hukum on that particular situation. If there is a problem that occur in the society that related to Islamic hukum, so actually the mujtahid must uh, conduct to provide the hukum that are not uh, stated from the divine law and the revelation, which is from the Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. So the mujtahid itself must make the ijtihad and hukum, the right hukum, based on the true sources of Islam, which is Al-Quran and As-Sunnah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Izzat bin Muhammad Rusdi. So today I will continue our presentation with the topic ijtihad. So what is the meaning of ijtihad? Ijtihad literally means to endeavor, strive, put oneself out, work hard. In the terminology of Islamic jurisprudence, ijtihad is defined as making complete expenditure of effort in order to infer the rules of Islamic Sharia after going through the detailed evidence in the primary Islamic sources, which is the Quran and Sunnah. In other words, ijtihad is the ability for deducing laws in cases to which no express text or a rule already determined. So it means that the effort of the someone which is mujtahid in order to establish the anticipated rules of the Sharia. So we have done with the meaning of the ijtihad. So let's proceed to the why ijtihad is needed. So why we need ijtihad? The first point is establishing previously unregulated laws in the Quran and Hadith. This statement does not mean that the Quran and the Hadith are inadequate, but that both sources have many implied meanings that can still be explored and explained in detail. The second point is to solve new issues in society. There are many new issues in society that are not explicitly regulated in a law. Let's just ask about the baby tube. Earlier in the days of the Prophet, there was no practice of baby tube, so we do not find hadith explaining it. Well, here is the role of the ijtihad in establishing the law for that matter. The third point is adapting the law to the changing times. So, actually, a law is easy to accept when it is convenient. The law is set up to provide guidelines that are relevant to what is happening. For example, these people in the time of the Prophet were merchants or breeders until they were charged with zakat. They have to pay zakat. Meanwhile, many other professions are also required to give zakat. So now, let's move on to the new subtopic, which is historical development of ijtihad. So actually, ijtihad starts at the presence of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the era of the revelation. As we all know, that the source of Sharia at the time of the Prophet Muhammad was revelation, which is Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. However, he also exercised ijtihad in the absence of revelation. Our Prophet Muhammad himself began to educate his companions in ijtihad and who on various occasions encouraged them to practice it in his own presence. He also tolerated from them nice interpretations while wisely and patiently improving their ability in exercising ijtihad. Next is ijtihad of the Prophet. So at the time of the era of revelation, it is ijtihad of the Prophet. It used ijtihad of the Prophet in interpreting and applying the text of the Quran. Next is in the era of companions, which is the era of Sahaba. In the era of the Sahaba, the ijtihad became widely used because of the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It means that the revelation, which is Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, has stopped. At that time, Islam has spread widely in the world. So, a lot of new incidents happen that need an ijtihad. The incidents happen actually regarding to the customs and traditions of the Muslims at their place. In the era of the companions, the scope of ijtihad became wider and wider. It is because that the world has changed fastly into the modern life. In the modern world, with all its advances in economic, social, science and technology, almost everything in modern life has changed. Therefore, ijtihad must be used to answer the new issues regarding the hukum, so that the Muslims are doing the right thing that is in line with the Sharia. Next is mujtahid, which is the scholars who are specialized in religious studies and mastered it, develop their method of ijtihad. So the mujtahid who is who mastered the religious studies used the ijtihad and their effort in order to drive the Muslim to make the right action which is in line with the Sharia. The next point is mazahib shape and develop. So this mazahib or mazhab will be explained by the next presenter. So next, I will show to you the example of the ijtihad. I will take the verse from chapter Al-Ma'idah, which is, but I will take the ayah wamsahu biru'usikum. I will focus on the wamsahu biru'usikum, which means sweep or wash your head. This phrase, which is wamsahu biru'usikum, has been understood with different understandings from Ahli Fiqh, which is ulama. All of them agreed that sweeping head or wash our head is the pillars of wudu, which is rukun of wudu, but sweeping or washing head is the problem or the question. Some say that the whole head, some say that we have to wash the whole head, the whole our head, or some, while others say that we have to wash half of our head. So this ijtihad has been used by the mujtahid in order to decide that the actions that we must follow. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, first of all, my name is Muhammad Syafiq Muhtar. So I will continue our presentation. So I will continue about mazhab. So what is mazhab? Mazhab is a school of thought within fiqh or within fiqh. What is fiqh? Fiqh is an Islamic jurisprudence. So the first stage of the mazhab is emergence a scholar's approach of ijtihad. The emergence a scholar's approach of ijtihad is like rules and principles of the interpretation plus the legal views and opinions. So and the last stage is development the sum total of the scholar's legal rulings as well as the rulings of his students and that of all the scholars who adhere to their approach of ijtihad. So from this we know that the first is the mujtahid, we call it as mujtahid. The imams or mujtahid, they make some rules of interpretation and some legal opinions. Then all of the mujtahid has their own students, So the students adopt their approach and narrate and record his legal opinions and spread those opinions and enrich them. Those who adhere to his methodology of ijtihad spread the mazhab and enrich it, formalized the mazhab. So how many mazhab are there? Generally there are many mazhab, but the Sunnis or Sunnah wal Jama'ah must have a single preferred mazhab from region to region, but also believe that ijtihad must be exercised by the contemporary scholars capable of doing so. Most rely on taqlid or acceptance of religious rulings and epistemology from a higher religious authority in differing meanings of analysis and derivation of legal practice instead of relying on subjective reading. Experts and scholars of fiqh follow the usul or principle of their own native mazhab, but they also study the usul, evidence and opinions of their mazhab. So every mazhab, every Sunnis or every people must have their own mazhab. We must follow only one mazhab. But those mazhab, but those mazhab of Sunni school which continued to exist and establish themselves are four. What the common mazhab is that we know is four. The reason behind this continuation is mainly because of the number and the role of students and followers. Okay, the four major mazhab is, first one is the Hanafi mazhab, or we call it as his real name is Imam Abu Hanifah. And the second one is the Maliki, the mazhab Maliki mazhab, or his name is Imam Malik, as known as Imam Malik, or his name is Malik bin Anas bin Amir, Ibn Anas Amir. The third one is the Shafi'i, the Shafi'i mazhab, or we known as Imam Shafi'i, or his real name is Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i. And the last one is the Hanafi mazhab, or known as Imam Ahmad, or his real name is Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So in terms of the foundational difference of the school of thought, what sources and evidence they use to derive Islamic rulings. Here is a hierarchical list of sources. Not all sources are used by each school. So I have in this slide I have provided brackets to indicate where a school of thought stopped taking evidence. So every thought, every schools have their own thought. So their own thought must have their evidence. So this is the evidence. They make some opinion or some legal rulings. So from this evidence, from this source, the first one is the primary source. The primary source is Al-Quran. So the secondary is the prophetic opinion or practice or sunnah or hadith. But there is many hadith like strong, weak. We know that such as hadith da'if or hadith tawatir. There so many hadith, so many type of hadith. So the third one is tertiary sources, we know as ijma ulama. The ijma ulama practice of the four caliphs or four sahabah, Abu Bakar radhiyallahu an, Umar radhiyallahu an, Uthman radhiyallahu an, Ali ibn Abi Talib radhiyallahu an, companion sahabah, people of Madinah, people of Madinah. So the Imam Hanbali mostly stop here. They don't take the another source. So the fourth one is logical reasoning, or we know as the qiyas or analogy. Most of the legal rulings of Shafi'is stop here. And abstraction, induction, or we know as ijtihad, Malikis and Hanafi stop here. Other Sufis, Salafi. So next is I will give some example of the difference in fiqh of the mazhab. What is the difference between them, between the legal rulings of the of the mazhab? So the first one, in terms of different of practice, they are largely on small details. They are, even in the small details, they have their difference, their own perspective. So for example, in prayer, when sitting and reciting doa, when in the tahiyat akhir or tahiyat awal, so the Imam Hanafi, they only stick out the forefinger when saying the shahada, that we know as la ilaha illallah. And Maliki make a fist and stick out the forefinger and wave it back and forth. And Shafi'is stick out the forefinger only when saying the name of God, yakni Allah. When we say Allah, so we stick out the forefinger. And the Hanbali, we stick out the forefinger throughout the sitting, but do not move it back and forth. When we sit, okay, the next one is when we taking the wudu on the head part, when we wash our head. The Hanafi, we wajib, compulsory to wash 1/4 of our head. And Maliki said that wajib wash all of the head. We can wash the hair only, because some hair and head is different. So we must know, in Maliki we must wash the head, the skin of the head. We can wash the hair only. And the Shafi'is wajib take half of the head only. Even with but in Shafi'i said that even we touch the hair, it's okay. It's okay if we just touch the hair, but we must take half of the head only. And the last one in Hanbali said that wajib moving the hand while wash, because in Malay we said as usap. Usap is we must move the hand while usap. When we do the usap thing, we must move our hand, right? So if we just put our hands on our head, it don't call usap. We just put it. So in Hanbali, we compulsory to move our hand while we wash our head. Okay, that's all from me.